What is up, my friends? It is NL East Division Preview Day here on Flippin' Bats. This division is gonna be awesome. Some really good teams here, some really good talent. Right now on the show, we are going division by division, picking 1 through 5 in the division, where each team ends up, talking all about them, and that's what we're gonna do here with the NL East. We will go 5 through number 1, who I think wins the division. We will talk about each team and how they're going to shake out, how good they're going to be, how bad they're going to be. And then at the end, after I get through one, we'll talk about why I think the division shakes out that way. So, again, we'll talk about each team and then as a whole at the end, talk about why I have what I have. So, thank you all for listening again. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify. You can also watch on our YouTube channel, Flippin' Bats Pod there. But today, we got an NL East preview. We are closer and closer to the start of the regular season. We got Dodgers and Cubs starting here in just about 2 weeks in Tokyo, which is going to be sick. It's going to be incredible. But neither of those teams are in the NL East. Let's talk NL East and get right to it. We're going to start at number 5 and work our way up to number 1. Number 5 in this division is pretty simple, in my opinion. The Miami Marlins, plus 25,000 to win the division on FanDuel Sportsbook, are coming in at number 5 for me. The Marlins are going to be bad. There's no way around it. There's not much to say about this team. What once was a team over the last couple of years that you could say, yeah, they're probably going to finish in last. They're not going to be great, but man, is their rotation really, really good. They're no longer that team either. You have Sandy at the top, who is coming off surgery, a down year. Is he going to be back to a Cy Young pitcher this year? I don't know. But other than that, in the rotation, Edward Cabrera, who continues to be the same pitcher. Man, this guy has some of the best stuff in the league, but he can't throw strikes. He's still that guy. Does that change this year? It doesn't really matter because the rest of the rotation, not very good. Offensively, this team is bad. Xavier Edwards at the top, Connor Norby, Jesus Sanchez, fine. Like, sure, those are serviceable, can be good. Connor Norby, I'm excited to watch him in 2025. But the rest of this lineup is just the worst in baseball. Really, really bad. So Miami Marlins, for me, not much to say. They are coming in 5th in the NL East. Congratulations to the Oakland A's. You are no longer starting the year as the worst team in baseball. That goes to the Miami Marlins for sure this year heading into 2025. Let's move on to 4th place in this division. Another pretty easy decision. Things get tricky in this division when we get to the top 3. But let's go to number 4, plus 10,000 to win the division. I'm going with the Washington Nationals. There's a lot of excitement around the Nationals right now. I watch, be watching MLB Network. I'll watch some people talk about the Nats and they'll say, yeah, you can feel the excitement. I don't really see it. I can get excited about the top of the lineup, right? I can get excited about saying, okay, like CJ Abrams, another year of him being at the top. Dude's got top. He can run the bases. Like, yeah, I see him as a leadoff hitter, as an all-star leadoff hitter in this league. Dylan Cruz, let's see what we can get out of him. New draft pick, top prospect, great. James Wood, same sort of thing. Got him from the Padres as well in that Soto trade. Dude's 6'6", 6'7", and he's massive and he can hit for a bunch of pop. And he was really good once he came up last year. We get a full season of James Wood. Great. But I lose excitement after that. Where's the rest of this excitement to say this team is even going to finish over 500, around at 500? I don't think they do. You added Nathaniel Lowe to the lineup. That's a good veteran piece to add into the middle. But from there, I lose excitement. Pitching staff, just bad. Bad. Mackenzie Gore. Again, the most exciting things to be excited about are the same things that you've been excited about since you traded Juan Soto. Great. Let's see what we have for the Juan Soto trade. Well, it's the same. CJ Abrams, James Wood, Mackenzie Gore. And it's just another year of watching them hopefully progress while getting to see a top prospect in the big leagues as well. But this team is basically the Baltimore Orioles from 4 years ago. They weren't good that year. They were on the cusp of being good. So I can see the path forward, but I am not yet there with the Washington Nationals. I can see a path in which they're good in 2 to 3 years, but I do not see a path in which they're good this year, and I do not see much excitement around this team other than the top of their lineup and the young prospects that I think are going to be good for a long time. But that is it. So I have the Washington Nationals coming in fourth in the NL East this year in 2025. All right, let's move on to the exciting ones. There are three very, very good teams in this division. And I'm going to start with my third place team at plus 210 to win the division, the New York Mets. Let me start by saying any of these three teams, there are three teams in the NL East that can win the division. The New York Mets are one of those teams. I do not think the New York Mets will be bad. I think they will be very, very good. And I just think this is a team that I'm just going off of what I see in this division. They could win. You could tell me Juan Soto goes absolutely ballistic, and him and Pete Alonso are an incredible 1-2 punch, and honestly, Francisco Lindor, Soto, Alonso are an incredible top of the lineup. No matter what way you look at it, they're going to be very good. I actually really like the depth of this lineup. I am excited about the 2025 New York Mets for so many different reasons. Mark Vientos was fantastic once he came up in 2024. I think Francisco Alvarez takes a massive leap forward. Brett Beatty's looked really good in spring training. Is this the year that he figures it out? Luis Angel Acuna has shown flashes of being really good when he came up. That could be a fun addition to this team. Drew Gilbert. There is a lot of reason for optimism about this New York Mets offense. In fact, the offense is going to be great. The New York Mets rotation is what does concern me. We're looking at Kodai Senga, Sean Manaea, question marks, right? David Peterson, Clay Holmes transitioning to a starter. What does that look like so far in spring training? That's looked really good, but who cares, right? It's the beginning of spring training. The dude's been a reliever in his career. Last year, he was not good, blew a bunch of games with the Yankees, and now he's a starting pitcher with the New York Mets on the cross side of town. The Mets are hoping for what the Padres have done with Michael King. Get a Yankees reliever, make him a starter. He's really good. That's best case scenario, right? But it's a big question mark. David Peterson's a question mark. Griffin Canning, Paul Blackburn, just 3 through 6 in this rotation is cause for concern and a lot of question marks. Now, what does this team do? They're going to be in the mix. They are, in my opinion, a playoff team. But do you trade for an ace? You have a bunch of young talent that you could potentially trade for, just throwing it out there, a Dylan Cease. 1 through 3 in this division is so close that if the Mets were to acquire Dylan Cease, I could easily see myself saying the Mets are going to win the NL East. That's what they need. That's what they're missing is a certified, bona fide ace of a pitcher. And then that really lengthens things. Then you can move Kodai Senga down to a 2. Then Sean Manaea, who was really good, you can move down to a 3. Next thing you know, you have a bunch of depth in the rotation. But we don't have that. You have Senga coming off an injury. Manaea looked really good last year. Big addition to get him back. And then a bunch of question marks. And over the course of 162 games, all of those question marks concern me. Really good division, really good offense. I'm going to slot in the Mets at number 3 in the division. Let's move on to number 2. At plus 135, the favorite to win the NL East, the Atlanta Braves, I have coming in second. The Braves are going to be very good. Offseason was an interesting one for them. Not a lot. You lose Max Fried in free agency, one of your best pitchers. You would have said before Chris Sale did what he did last year that after they lost Strider, He's your best pitcher. He's a Cy Young caliber pitcher, and he is. But he is an injury prone guy, and they didn't want to pony up all the money that the Yankees ended up giving him to be an ace of a staff type of guy. So you lost Max Fried, and you didn't really add much in that rotation, and you didn't really add much in the offense all offseason long until late in the offseason. You add Jerks and Profar to the outfield. All-star, really good pickup. Honestly, really good pickup. The Braves lineup is really, really deep. It's really, really good. Michael Harris, Ronald Acuna, you're going to get back. Jerks and Profar. Austin Riley missed a big chunk of time last year. Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Ozzy Albies, Sean Murphy. The lineup is insane. But their big additions this year come from in-house. They didn't do a ton in free agency besides Profar, but you're getting Ronald Acuna Jr. back very early in the year. It was hopeful that he'd get back at the start of the season, but what we've heard is he will not be ready for opening day, but very shortly thereafter. And similar sort of situation with Spencer Strider, who you're hoping to get into at least one spring training game by the end of spring training, and that's essentially his ramp up. So he's hoping to pitch in spring training, but won't be ready. So it will take a few weeks, I imagine, for him to be in the big leagues. But you're getting Acuna back. You're getting Strider back. Health is a massive question. What are you getting with Ronald Acuna? What are you getting with Spencer Strider? Lineup is going to be very, very good no matter what. Pitching, you have Chris Sale, Triple Crown winner last year at the top. He's going to be good again. Obviously, injury concerns there, but I don't have the Braves at number 2 in this division for any negative reason. I don't. The Braves are going to be great. The Braves could easily win the NL East. The Braves will push the Dodgers to win the National League. The Braves are a fantastic team. I just have them in second because I am once again, as I was last year, when I predicted the Phillies to be as good as they were. I had the Phillies winning the World Series, but they crumbled in the playoffs. They did win the division. I have the NL East being won by the Philadelphia Phillies. They are plus 180 to win. God, they are just so good. They added Jesus Luzardo to a rotation who maybe some people don't know Jesus Luzardo because he was down there pitching in Miami, but he has been nasty. He's a lefty, throws really hard, ball moves all over the place, and you add him to a rotation where you don't need him to be your 1, your 2, even your 3. Your rotation now looks something like Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Chris Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, Ranger Suarez. That is the best pitching rotation in the NL East. Then you pair that with a lineup that has Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto hitting at the bottom of the lineup, Bryson Stott, Brandon Marsh. Really, really good. Great rotation. Great offense. You add Jordan Romano to the bullpen. You have Jose Alvarado and Jordan Romano in your 8-9 inning guys. I'm just a big believer in the Philadelphia Phillies and what they're doing. And I think they once again win this division at plus 180. I think last year in the playoffs, they got bit by the same bug that the Braves had a couple of years prior, is that you knew you were winning the division. You were running away with it. You have that first round bye, and then they just didn't hit when the time came to hit. And I think they got bit by the first round bye blues. But this team, top to bottom, is every bit as good as anybody in the National League, and that is including the Los Angeles Dodgers. There are a few teams in this division that I think can beat the Dodgers in the playoffs, and one of those is the team that I have winning the division in the Philadelphia Phillies. Just the most complete team, top to bottom. The least amount of question marks, top to bottom, right? The path for the Phillies to not win the division is what happened to the Braves last year with injuries, with Bryce Harper getting hurt and Aaron Nola getting hurt and missing the whole year. That's the path for the Phillies to not win the division. The least amount of question marks and the best rotation, that's going to win the division for me in 2025. So NL East standings. I am going bottom to top. Miami Marlins, Washington Nationals at 4, New York Mets at 3, though much improved. Atlanta Braves at number 2, and rounding out the division, I am going with the Philadelphia Phillies in the number 1 spot. Let's talk NL East because our last episode we talked AL East and it's fairly similar, right? Very top heavy division, 3 teams that could absolutely win the division. If you haven't listened to our AL East preview, go back and listen. That was earlier episode this week. Check it out. Listen top to bottom. Really fun division to talk through. And so is this. There's a scenario where the top 3 teams in this division win. I think the most likely scenario is the Braves or Phillies win this division. I have rotation concerns with the New York Mets as is, and they can obviously add a piece. They can trade for somebody at the deadline. But I have rotation concerns with the Mets, and I think they by far have a worse rotation than the Phillies, and definitely have a worse rotation as it sits right now than the Atlanta Braves. Offensively, all 3 of these teams can compete with each other. Phillies, Braves, Mets, offensively, all great. So in this division, I'm going based off of rotation and rotation talent and then rotation health for my top pick, right? The Braves could be a great rotation if you look at Spencer Strider coming back and being an ace of a staff type of pitcher, a Cy Young type of pitcher. But we're talking Tommy John track record with guys in their first year coming off of TJ. What are we going to get from him? There's so many question marks. Chris Sale, I know he was nasty last year. I know he won the NL Triple Crown for a pitcher. But we'd be lying if we say there's not question marks with Chris Sale. He's getting older. There's always been health concerns. Reynaldo Lopez in his second year as a starting pitcher, all-star last year. But I wouldn't say he's, pencil him in as an all-star in 2025. Schwellenbach. I like Spencer Schwellenbach a lot. Add some good depth to the rotation. Again, this Braves rotation is good. But there are more question marks to me there than there are with the Phillies. So the way I picked this division was based off of rotation. And the best rotation with the least amount of question marks is certainly the Philadelphia Phillies being able to go, again, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Chris Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, and add Jesus Luzardo to that mix. And it's just disgusting. So, yeah, to me, this is Phillies, Braves, easily could win the division. I have the Phillies. The path for them not winning the division is more apparent than the path is more difficult for me than the path to them to not win it or for them to win it. That was confusing. I'll say it again. Maybe it'll make more sense. The path for the Phillies to not win the division is more difficult than it is for the Phillies to win the division. Again, you would need Bryce Harper to miss maybe the whole year, Aaron Nola to miss maybe the whole year, or Zach Wheeler to miss a bunch of time. Aaron Nola, pencil that guy in for healthy starts every 5 days. That's what his track record has been. So I just have less concerns there. And I love the team top to bottom. And Braves, I just look at that team. And this is how I came to my decision. I look at that team and say, man, the Braves are going to be great. Hopefully Ronald Acuna comes back and is MVP caliber Ronald Acuna. Hopefully Spencer Strider comes back and is Cy Young caliber Spencer Strider. Decision ends right there. There's a lot of hopefullys and a lot of potential things that you need to go right for them to win the division. If the Braves don't win the division, they're the top wild card spot in the National League. They are very good. This is not hating on any team. This is not saying they won't be good. This is not, I don't want anybody listening to say, oh, here we go again. Ben hates the Braves. Ben hates the Mets. No, this is just a division that if you're a fan of any of those teams, you can be honest with yourself and say, yeah, winning the NL East is going to be hard. You're going to have to win 98 plus games to win the NL East this year. And me saying a certain team is going to come in second or the Mets are going to come in third isn't me saying that team's not going to be good or isn't me not liking the way that team is built. It's just me loving three teams in this division and thinking they're all going to be playoff teams, and picking the winner to me just comes down to who has less question marks. And that answer has to be the Phillies. Rotation-wise, a lot of depth, no question marks there. Lineup-wise, a lot of depth, no question marks. Bullpen, couple question marks, but potential to be good. Braves, lineup, lot of depth, no question marks. Rotation has question marks. Mets rotation doesn't have question marks. It's just not going to be great. And that's how I came to my decision. I love this division. The NL East might be the most fun division to watch all year long because of these three teams and how good they are going to be. But I am ultimately going to pick the Philadelphia Phillies to win the NL East. And I don't want any hate. I don't want any hate out of anybody here for the Phillies to win that division. That's what I thought would happen last year. That's what happened. They ended up being really, really good, as I predicted they would be. Mets are going to be even better this year. Last year, before the year, I said, I sent out a tweet. I do it every year. Pick a team that is going to surprise a lot of people this year and be good. And my answer was the New York Mets. The Mets ended up in the NLCS and really close to getting to the World Series. I think the Mets are better this year than they were last year. And I think they absolutely can be one of the teams that beats the Braves or the Phillies or the Dodgers in the World Series or in the playoffs. But over the course of 162 with that rotation, I'm not going to pick them to win the division. So I'm going to have them in third, Braves in second, Phillies in first. Again, really exciting division to watch. I am just getting more and more excited about baseball season as we get closer. We are just a couple of weeks away. 2025, the year of Flippin' Bats. I know I keep saying it. It's because it's true. I'm excited for what's to come in baseball. The game keeps growing. The game keeps heading in a great direction. And this show is what celebrates that. And I love this community and all of you that listen and all of you that are a part of it. And we are just here celebrating the game. We're not hating on anything. We're not being negative. We are just celebrating this game that I think is on a great, great path. And I couldn't be more excited for this season and to talk to all of you about baseball this season. So truly, thank you all for listening, as you always do. I want you all to do me a favor. Wherever you're listening or watching, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this division in the comments. Who comes in fifth through first place? Let me know. Type it out right now. Who wins 1 through 5? Let me know in the comments, and I'll respond and hop in the comments and see and talk back to you guys, and we'll see what we all think. Could be a fun conversation there. But make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Watch on YouTube on our Flippin' Bats Pod channel, and we're on all social media at Flippin' Bats Pod everywhere. Check it out. It's going to be an absolute blast of a season. You don't want to miss anything here. This community is the best, and we will be with you multiple times a week, all season long. Big things coming for this show. But that does it for the NL East preview. Stay tuned for more previews to come very, very shortly. But I appreciate you all. Talk to you all in the comments. Remember, until next time, my friends, find your bat and flip it.